Questions have been prepared in advance by chamber staff and are based on their member input and have not been shared with the candidates. If you would please make sure that you silence your cell phones, and we'll be ready to begin. First, I'd like to introduce the participating candidates for the Kansas House District 26. This district includes portions of southern Olathe, eastern Gardner, all of Spring Hill, and rural portions of both Johnson and Miami counties. Our first candidate, Deann Mitchell. She's the Democratic candidate and has worked over 30 years in the financial services industry. She has 2 grown daughters, and she and her husband, Greg, live in Olathe. Our other candidate is Adam Thomas. Adam is the Republican candidate and works in management in the restaurant industry. He and his wife, Kristen, have 5 children and currently live in Olathe. We did draw, and Adam was picked the number 1 candidate listing. Deann did get number 2, so we're going to start with Adam, and he will do a 3-minute opening statement.
Good morning. I want to thank Sharon and the Chamber. Sharon, you do great work. I work up at Prairie Village, and they were actually talking specifically about you in this organization the other day. So it goes far and wide what you've accomplished and what you've done, so I appreciate that very much. Like you said, I've been married 16 years. My wife and I have 5 beautiful children, 4 daughters and 1 son who is 3 months old now, finally sleeping through the night. And it's concerning. He looks just like me, so I do fear for his future as he grows up, but we'll see how that goes. The reason I decided to run was I see our state, I see us in a good spot. I know we're doing well with roads, we're doing well from a pro-life issue, which is something I'm very passionate about. We're doing good things, and now we need to start moving our state forward. We see taxes on the rise, we talk about education funding, we see all these opportunities that need to be addressed. And I think it's time that we elect new leadership, fresh faces to the legislature. They're going to bring the energy and the passion that is necessary to move our state forward. And every decision I make, I will be thinking about not only your families and your children, but the small businesses that we could have here in Kansas, and the revenue that will come from those, the jobs, all of these things that we could do. We should be welcoming these people. And that is one of my big goals, is to make sure we are welcoming to small businesses, entrepreneurs, families that want to raise their children here, seniors that want to move here. And those are the issues that I want to take to the people with me. And those are issues I'm very passionate about, and I look forward to being your representative to make those things happen in the District 26. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam. Deann?
Good morning. I'm Deann Mitchell. I have been a resident of District 26 for 16 years. I grew up down near Garnett on a farm between Garnett and Burlington, and moved to Olathe in 1985. So I've been up here in the suburban area for 33 years, so I have a good mix of rural and suburbia, much like District 26. Professionally, I am a certified financial planner, helping my clients manage and invest their wealth. And I'm also a certified divorce financial analyst. So I help my clients who are going through a difficult time to make smart financial decisions. I have a bachelor's degree in applied organizational leadership from Mid-American Nazarene University, and a master's in business administration from WGU. I currently sit on 2 state boards, the Kansas Credit Union Council, which oversees the 25 state chartered credit unions in Kansas and their budgets. And I also sit on the Governor's Behavioral Health Planning Council, which helps state agencies plan, oversee, and manage the mental health services in the state of Kansas. I'm also on a board of a veterans nonprofit, Veterans Voices Writing Project, and we help veterans use writing as therapy to overcome PTSD issues and for entertainment. I am married. My husband Greg's here. I have 2 daughters that both have graduated from Olathe South. And my team and I have spent the summer walking the district. We've canvassed and knocked on over 5,000 doors. I think that's a great way to build the link between us and the residents, and we really enjoyed getting to know people better and really learn about the district. So thank you all for coming out today. We look forward to answering your questions.
Can you maybe, as Kansans, we know this has been a little bit interesting for us as we went through the Brownback March to Zero, and now we've put back in some of those state taxes on us that affects all of us in this room. Can you just tell us your views on state tax policy? And Deann, this question starts with you.
The tax experiment you mentioned put us in a financial hole the state is going to take years to dig out of. Our bond rating from a state perspective was decreased 3 times. That's devastating to the growth of this state. Kansas needs a more balanced tax policy. Last year, 30% of the tax revenue came from individual income tax, less than 5% came from corporate income tax, and 50% came from sales tax. We have the second highest sales tax rate in the nation. We need to have a more balanced approach to taxes. The dependency on sales tax is an undue burden on the low and middle class families in the state who have to pay a larger percentage of their paycheck on food and necessities. I would love to see the tax on food and necessities decreased or eliminated, but to do that, we're going to have a complete overhaul of the tax system.
Thank you. Adam, the question to you again, your views on the state tax policy.
Right now, what I feel personally, just from talking to folks I'm knocking at their door, we need to make sure that we are making taxes more friendly for everybody, and especially small businesses. I was talking the other day with a gentleman, he's the president of a homeowners association in Spring Hill, and he said the entire district wants internet. We want families that can work from home to move to this area. And I think the tax policies right now, the tax rates, aren't as friendly to not only the individual, but to those small businesses. So we need to make sure we're welcoming to these people so we don't have another instance where Lee Jeans, for example, decides to leave the state for better tax policies. So we need to welcome them with open arms. We need to get those issues dissolved, get internet in these areas, encourage small businesses. As Spring Hill continues to grow, this will be totally necessary to help the economy continue to boom and encourage folks to move here, small businesses to open, and be able to use that internet to flourish their business and bring more revenue, not only to locally, but to the state as well.
Thank you both on that. The second question, it dovetails kind of right off, and Adam, this one would go to you. With record low unemployment rates challenging our businesses, the ability to find enough employees, what would you do to grow and develop the state's workforce?
One thing that I think we should do is allocate more funds to vocational classes in schools. You know, we talk about it. My daughter wants to get into culinary school. I worry about these programs going away from woodshop, for example. Our school doesn't have woodshop anymore. So we have to be encouraging folks when they get into high school to go to these vocational classes, learn a skill, learn a trade, so they can be a part of the booming economy in Kansas. And we want more people to move here, because the more people that move here, the more workers we have. The more children that grow up in our state, the more workers we will have available. So I believe we need to start with vocational education classes, definitely.
Thank you. Deann, the same question to you. What would you do to grow and develop the state's workforce?
I agree that we need to have a more focused issue related to technical training. I'd like to see our community colleges have a more active role in developing technical skills. From an unemployment standpoint, we have very low unemployment, but the people that have more technical jobs are having trouble finding people to fill those jobs. So we need to somehow make programs that allow for those technical trainings. For example, the wind energy program in Colby Community College. It's very strong for wind energy. It's bringing natural resource jobs to Kansas. And the wind cowboys actually get hired out of that program before they even graduate, with jobs that are making $80,000 and $90,000 a year. So if we can bring innovative technical skills like that to Kansas, that would be a good thing.
Thank you. You guys are doing a great job staying on time and on topic. I really appreciate that. Topeka as a whole, and we hope this is true, appears poised to refocus on the state's infrastructure. What would your priorities be in any new statewide transportation plan? And Deann, the question is to you.
Our highways, especially in District 26, have seen more use in the last few years because of our continued growth in industry and residential and the intermodal hub in Gardner. I've heard a lot of issues about trucks being on roads that they shouldn't be on. So we need to make sure that our highways and bridges are safe. I would like to make sure that the T-Works program that was passed in 2010 continues and is revitalized. A lot of those programs that were designated in 2010 were stalled due to budget issues, and we need to revisit that and get that program back in line to make sure that our highways are safe.
Thank you. Adam, the same question to you. What would your priorities be in any new statewide transportation plan?
My priorities would be to make sure the roads are safe as well. As I drive through Spring Hill, you see economic development, housing development going up everywhere around two-lane roads with no guardrails on either side. Some of the roads are even gravel. So I believe that we need to start looking to allocate funds towards making those roads safer. We do have a lot of highways as well, but if people have unsafe roads to get to the highways, I think that's a problem. So, for example, Webster, down at Webster, I hear an awful lot about that. That's a problem that needs to be addressed. Stoplights, anything we can do to make that particular section safer. I hear about that all the time. And then two-lane roads going down 183rd, going down into Spring Hill a little bit further. These two-lane roads going to these brand new subdivisions, I think we could do a better job of allocating funds to widen those roads and make them safer for our people so they can get to our nice highways and travel safely. So that's where I would start, is within the city itself.
Thank you. What are your views on funding K-12 education?
With regards to education, I want to see more money sent to the classrooms. And I feel like right now, the more and more funds that are sent to education oftentimes end up where they don't need to go. I talk to teachers all the time. I talk to students all the time. They need more resources. The teachers themselves talk about needing more money. Meanwhile, they get more money, and I feel like it gets spent sort of from the top down with very little going in the classroom. So the first thing I would want to see is a breakdown of where this money is going, who's getting paid out of it, and how much the teachers are actually getting, because I've got a lot of skin in this game. I got 5 kids, 1 in high school, 1 in middle school, 1 in elementary school, and 2 that are going to be in there soon. So it is a huge concern of mine. And using the love and the passion that I have for my children and what I want to see them do, I will take that into every vote regarding this, and I will take that into every meeting where we look into this stuff. Because, you know, 5 kids put through the system. I'm going to be passionate about this issue.
And Deann, again, your views on funding K-12 education.
The legislative study that was done last spring proved that Kansas has some of the most efficient budgets in the nation, with less than 2% going to administrative costs, and that we need to put more money in public education, millions, maybe billions of dollars. On a per-student basis last year, we spent less than we did on a per-student basis in 2008. We can't continue to do more with less. Public education has to be adequately funded, not only as a state function or a social function, it's an economic development issue. We can't draw industry, companies moving their families to Kansas if we can't provide exceptional schools. We don't have beaches, we don't have mountains. We draw people here for our public education system. And we as a state need to stop thinking of education funding as an expense and consider it an investment in the future of the state.
And you're segueing right into my next question. And it goes to you. Describe what you see as the Kansas advantage when it comes to economic development and tourism, and the types of economic development policies you would support to encourage job growth and business expansion in Kansas.
Economic development is such a huge issue in Kansas. And I think one of the key issues to bringing industry to Kansas and to small town Kansas is expanding the broadband issue. I know that's a huge issue in Spring Hill and in the rural areas down in Garnett where I grew up. We need to have high-speed internet access for not only the families, but for the large companies and the small companies in these communities in order to grow economically. So I will promote the statewide broadband issue. There is a task force currently at statewide, but they're not really getting their teeth into it. Right now there's just a website, but we need to have a team behind that task force and make statewide broadband an initiative for economic development.
Thank you. Adam, same question to you in regards to economic development policies that you would support to encourage job growth and business expansion in Kansas.
Well, I agree, as I said earlier, about the internet issue. I mean, that's brought up at the doors with me all the time. And also, we need to go to these businesses and folks that are considering moving here, and we need to tell them our state is going to grow, and we continue to grow, especially in the 26th district, and present it this way. Listen, we're going to move forward with or without you. We would like your help, but as Spring Hill continues to grow, as Olathe continues to grow, we need your help. Not through offering of TIFs, not through offering of special deals, but just saying we're going to get somebody in here to provide internet to these people. We're going to get small business people in here one way or another. Jump on the bus. Open invitation. Let's go. But we have to have the energy level behind that to go to these people. We have to have that drive to sit down in front of these people and have that conversation. I will do that.
Thank you. And Adam, the next question starts with you. What is the most important thing that distinguishes you from your opponent in this race?
I would say, energy-wise, I bring to the table energy, and I will bring that to every vote. My desire for Kansas to remain a solid pro-life state, solid economic growth, solid business, solid low unemployment, focusing on agriculture, good education, having some of the best schools. I will continue to be energized and fight for that. As far as any other differences between us, I'm not going to say anything negative about my opponent. I'll just say that we do differ on some policies, those being some of them, but other than that, I look forward to election day.
And Deann, the same question to you. What's the most important thing that distinguishes you from your opponent in this race?
I'm a businesswoman. I've been in the financial service industry for 30 years. I understand finances. I understand profit and loss statements. I understand business acumen. My experience on state boards and my education differentiate me from my opponent.
All right, and Deann, this question is going to go to you first. And if you would you just tell us what are the three most important challenges that are facing our state today? And if any of them you feel like you have something you would propose that you would do to address either one of them or all of them. If you just give us your top three, so we kind of know when you get to Topeka, if you get to Topeka, you or Adam, what are going to be your top three?
My top three will be education funding, infrastructure, including broadband, and Medicaid expansion. And I'll talk about Medicaid expansion a little bit. It's not been talked about a lot. I have a friend who's a pediatrician in Olathe. When she gives her patients a strep test, it costs more to buy that strep test kit than she gets reimbursed from CanCare. So every time she gives a strep test, she's losing money. That is not a sustainable business model. Expanding Medicaid in this state is an economic development issue. We could save millions of dollars by shifting the structure of how Medicaid is paid for from a state majority to a federal majority, which would happen if we expanded Medicaid under the federal guidelines, and I think that's a critical issue.
Great. And Adam, again, the three most important challenges that face our state, and how do you can choose one, three, whatever you want, how do you propose to address them?
Taxes, continued economic growth, education. Start with taxes. I would want to put a cap on property tax, about how much it can increase, especially involving seniors. A lot of them live on a fixed income. What we don't want to do is tax them out of that and continue to burden them. So I think property taxes have to be addressed, and I would propose specifically a cap on the increase of property taxes. With education, I think all of it sort of rolls together with education and taxes. You roll them together, so more funding goes to the schools, but adequate funding. You know, I want to look at it from top to bottom, and I want to make sure that the money's going to our kids. As far as economic growth, we already talked about expanding the internet down into these rural areas. I'm a big proponent of that, and also I think that will bring in more economic growth, more businesses, and more families to Kansas, and I think we can do that. We can do that together.
Thank you both. Okay. Closing statements by the candidate, and I'd like to make sure that everyone looks at the clock because we are ahead of schedule. You guys have done a fantastic job staying on task and staying to the time limits that we had. Thank you so much. And Adam, we're going to start with you. You have 2 minutes just to present your closing statement, the thing you want us to go away with when we walk out the door today.
Well, thank you certainly for having this, and I'm certainly glad we were all able to participate in this. And thank you all for coming. I know it's bright and early, so thank you very much for having me. I want you to know that the things that drive me in every decision I will make as your state representative are my family, my drive to improve our state, and my passion to make sure everybody has the same opportunities I have. If not, I leave this state better for my family. I will take that into every meeting, every hearing, every vote that I take. I will have your families and mine in mind. I do not want to leave this state in a worse spot than I had it for my children. And I will do that. We're less than 3 weeks away. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, but I ask for your support on November 6th to help move this state forward and set our children up for success. Thank you.
Deann?
Closing statement.
Closing statement.
There are 25 state house districts in Johnson County, and I would argue that District 26 is the most unique. We cover 2 counties, we cover 2 cities, we have 2 major highways through here, and we touch on 5 school districts. It's a unique mix of suburban, small town, and rural. A unique mix, much like I have in my experience. District 26 deserves a representative that has history with the district, that will recognize the strengths of the district, and will advocate to find solutions for the challenges of this district. And I am that representative. Thank you all again for coming. If you have any questions, we'll stick around and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, that concludes our candidate forum for the House District 26. Let's thank our candidates for participating today. I would like to say I appreciate you all coming out this morning. One of the rights we have as citizens is to vote, and being an educated voter and being able to listen to our candidates and for them to be able to share their thoughts and ideas with us. And that, I think when you go to the polls, that really helps all of us. Thank you to you both again for coming. On behalf of the chambers, we thank you all, and everybody have a fantastic, oh, Sharon has something she wants. Oh, here you go. Wait, Phil Donahue.
I just want to thank Crown Realty because they sponsored this event and gave us coffee. Actually, the Bean Coffee Company donated the coffee, but they paid for the refreshments and the other refreshments. So thank you all for coming in. I wanted to thank Blake too for coming in and doing an awesome job with the model. And for Natalie and Jim. Thank you. So feel free, we have this space till 9 o'clock, so you can ask any questions you want to ask.